Hello, everyone, and welcome to this ISM Trust webinar, Discover BBC Get Singing. I'm joined today with Laura from the BBC, who is a producer for BBC Get Singing, and Matt, who is a conductor with a passion for youth music, education, and creating inspiring singing experiences. Please introduce yourself in the chat box. My name is Ed Phelan. I'm the Knowledge and Resources Manager here at the ISM. There will be a Q&A function, so do deliver any questions you have to us, and we'll try and get to them near the end of this session. This session is going to be recorded and will be shared with you afterwards, along with the slides. We'll also be circulating a short feedback form, but I'm going to pass over now to Matt to take it away.
Thanks very much, Ed. I am absolutely delighted to be here with you today to introduce you to the BBC's brand new initiative, BBC Get Singing. And the aim of today is that we go away feeling like we know a little bit more about it, that we know what the resources that are available. And hopefully, I'm going to give you some top tips on how to use these resources in your singing group. So let's discover a little bit more about BBC Get Singing. Today's webinar has a few rules to it in that it's going to be very, very interactive. I'm going to be leading from the front. I'm going to be singing with you. I'm going to be moving with you. I'm going to be sharing some different things and again, looking through the website so that hopefully by the end of this, you feel like you can take these resources away and use them in your singing setting. Let's have a quick look, an overview of the entire webinar. So we've welcomed ourselves, we've introduced ourselves, you've maybe started to put a few things in the chat down there, which we like to see. In a second, we're going to warm ourselves up. We're going to talk about the importance of warming up our voices, about the importance of warming up our young people's voices as well. And then we're going to delve into the website itself. We're going to look at all the resources that are available, have a little tour around that, so that after this session, you can go and grab all of those resources for yourself and use them in your singing sessions. And then, like I said, this is an interactive practical workshop. So my job today is to leave you and make you feel like you can use these resources with some top tips for it, starting to kind of understand some of the music that is there and available and feel really confident in leading this music. At the end of it, we'll go a little bit beyond the notes, talk about some things that are going to help our singing groups to sort of elevate their singing, to feel like better musicians, how we can help to facilitate that as music leaders from the front. And then at the end, we'll have a few questions. So if you do think of any questions throughout the webinar today, you can pop them in the chat. Ed's going to be looking in there, and at the end of it, we'll answer a few of those questions. As Ed said, I absolutely love working in youth music. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm Matt Roughley, and I'm a music leader, conductor, arranger, and I've been working in all sorts of different music settings for basically the last 15 years or so since I left university. And I work with young singers all around the UK. It's my absolute joy and privilege to do that. I'm based in Manchester, where I work with the Halle Youth Choirs and the Halle Youth Training Choir, which is the specific age group that we're looking at here with BBC Get Singing. I set up my own youth choir where I live in Sale. And I also work with the National Youth Choir, age 9 to 15 age group, where I'm one of the conductors there. I've also got a background in working in schools, whether that be through workshops, brief periods of head of music in some primary schools, and then also working for local music services, delivering all sorts of different music initiatives. So if you do have any questions at the end of this, I've done quite a lot of on the ground work, and I hope to give you some of that sort of experience and knowledge and help to share that throughout today. However, before we do anything else, let's get ourselves warmed up. As I said earlier, this is so important. It's a key element to any productive music session. Whether it be that you're working in a school, whether it's a music setting outside of school that you've set up, the young people that we're about to sing with can be coming from a long, hard day somewhere. Maybe they've just done a geography lesson. Maybe they've been playing football and they're a little bit out of breath. We want to focus them into our music. So I invite you all to stand up with me, because maybe you've also had a long day as well. And this is going to help us energize and refocus for this session. This is interactive, so I'd love you to get involved with me in here. We're just going to start off with what I call the 4 key elements of posture. So we can have position one, which is when we're sat down, beginning of a session. Maybe they've just come into the session, they're chatting away about what they're about to do, what they've been doing in the day. Then we can move into position two, where you as a leader are about to introduce a concept, introduce a song, start leading some of the music, and people are focused and listening to what you're doing. Position three, we're going to get into where we're sat really well as if we were about to sing something so that our posture and our alignment is fully working as it should be. And then position four is as I am right now, I'm stood and I'm ready to sing. And I'm going to start off by just moving my ankles around a little bit. I can't show you my ankles on here, unfortunately. It's the Zoom nature of it. And then I'm just going to give my knees a little going around. So I'm just working on the lower part of my body. I'm making sure that my feet are sort of parallel underneath my shoulders. A way that I really like to do this in schools, a couple of ways, is bring your feet really close together. And then we're just going to open them up like penguins. And then we're going to open them up again. And we should find a really good position for that. The other version of it, particularly if you're working with anyone, any groups that are particularly into football, the Ronaldo Sue tends to work for it as well, but it can get a little bit chaotic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Leave it there. We're going to give our shoulders a little bit of a roll around. Forwards, 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 up and down. And then just our hands a little shake. And I'm going to take my head over to one side and over to the other. And then I'm going to look up to the ceiling and back down to my toes. And then bring myself into a nice, neutral, aligned position, ready to sing. Like I said, we're going to draw in the focus into this. So can we take one finger? I'd like you to bring it to your nose. And we're going to take this hand, and we're going to bring it across our bodies. And you're going to grab your ear, or in my case, my headphone on this. And then I'm going to switch those over. So this is going to come to my nose and over to my ear. And then I'm going to switch them and switch them and switch and switch and switch. And I'm going to take that tempo up. Switch, switch, switch until it's all gone a bit chaotic and we shake it out through that. The other really nice one of that is to take your hand to your opposite knee. So this is my left hand to my right knee. And then I switch it over and over and over. Keep that there. Moving. And then let's up that tempo. And then let it drop into that. So we're physicalizing, we're getting ourselves focused, we're forcing ourselves to think, which is drawing our young singers into the space and the music that we are about to teach. Let's just make this sound together. Can you go? Try that. Beautiful. Okay, so let's add a little bit of pitch to this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 1. Sing that for me. 1, 2, 1. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Your turn. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to take it up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then finally, we're going to go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this pattern just building up. 2, then 3 back down, 4 back down, 5 all the way back down. And the sound that I want us to make to this is vroom, like we did just a second ago. Give me another vroom. Vroom. So if I put this together now, it's going to go vroom, 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 vroom. Try that with me one more time. Here we go. Brilliant. We're using that breath. We're making sure that we're checking in with our posture, that we can just remind our young singers about as we do that. And the idea of this is that we're using our warm-ups to start to embed some of the teaching techniques that we want to be using through the rest of the session. I'm using my hand here to sort of represent any sort of sheet music that you may be using in the session, or at least showing that the pitch is changing up and down as we're using our voices, and young singers can start to connect that when our voices move upwards, we're singing a little bit higher, that we can start to see and visualize how that works. Let's open that now to an R sound. So we're just going to work on a vowel. Can you all say for me, ah? Try that. Ah. And I'm just stroking down from my cheeks through to the bottom of my jaw. And what I'm trying to do from the point of view of the music leader is absolutely show the type of sound, the shape of the sound that I want my singer to make. So can you just give it one more go with me? We go, ah. And now I'm going to add this hand back in. So it goes, ah. And we're going to do the pattern that we've just learned. Here we go. Ah, 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 ah. Now, with a little bit longer, you might want to explore some different vowels through that, some different sounds. Maybe there's a piece of music that you're about to sing that has a particular word that you want to focus on. Maybe that word is love. Maybe it's coming up later. You could go, love, love, love. And with this, we're getting the sound that you want in love. We're working on the endings of it. And this is all in your warm-up, which is going to help you later on in your rehearsal when you're learning all of this music. I've put on here the rule of 10%. What I basically mean by that, of a rule of 10%, is never skip the warm-up. If you only have a 20-minute rehearsal, then you're going to put like 2 minutes aside to do a little bit of a warm-up so that we can focus, so we can get bodies moving, so that we can make sure that our voices are in a good place. Never skip the warm-up. It can really, really help you out. And particularly if you think about the piece of music you're about to teach, you can use a fragment or a section of that to help you through there. Brilliant, everyone. So why are we here? Well, we want to know what BBC Get Singing is. So what is BBC Get Singing? Let's have a little look. I'm going to come back into here for you. So BBC Get Singing is a new national programme to get young people aged 11 to 14 singing. And we're really excited because on board with this as our ambassador and advocate is the Grammy Award-winning Jacob Collier. Now, you might be on here and you already run a singing group, or maybe you're thinking about starting a singing group, which to me is very, very exciting. I love starting new programmes and getting them going and getting more and more young people singing. Either way, the resources in here are going to be something that you can use in every single rehearsal. There's top tips on warming up, there's top tips on getting the best out of your choir, and of course, there are some amazing songs in here. And over the lifetime of the programme, there's going to be more and more that's added to this as we're going along for teachers and vocal leaders and young people to get involved in. So there's going to be workshops, webinars such as this, training in CPD that's taking place, and performances across the UK. Now, like I said, it's really exciting to have Jacob Collier involved in this new initiative. So let's hear from Jacob to tell us a bit more about BBC Get Singing.
I'm really, really excited about the BBC Get Singing campaign because I think that it does the very thing that I was brought up to believe. It gives young people a chance, not just to feel like they have a voice and they can sing and isn't music fun to learn, but that their presence matters, that their voice matters, and that their participation matters.
I would say that it's not that scary because, especially when you're in a group, you kind of all just sing together, and if you get something wrong, no one's going to judge you because they're all going through the same experience.
I'd say be confident with what you do and just do it because no one's going to judge you.
When we sing together, we learn about leadership, we learn about courage, we learn about confidence, empathy, we learn about just listening. We learn about mathematics and physics and balance and vibration and alignment, but we also learn about humor and body language, and we learn about implication, expectation, all these amazing things.
The reality is they do enjoy it, they love it, especially when it comes to working with their friends and all being in the same position. It just goes to show that their confidence can be boosted by working together rather than just not singing at all.
If you like singing and you enjoy it, best to do it with your friends, because that's when you enjoy it the most.
The thing with music is permission is more important than skill. So you don't need skill to get started, you just need to be invited. And to me, BBC Get Singing is this invitation to say, hey, you're invited to be a part of something big.
I love that. It's best to do it with your friends because it's more enjoyable. And I think there's so many things that video says that we go around as music advocates, as music leaders, telling people about that singing, and it goes far beyond the notes. It's about bringing people together. It's all those transferable skills that we have. And if you are thinking about getting a music session going, a singing session going, then hopefully by the end of this, you'll have some resources that are going to really sort of help you and empower you to do that. So let's have a look what is there, what's available for you to use in your existing sessions, to set up different sessions. So through this website, you'll find some new arrangements of songs to sing in groups, either in extracurricular and enrichment sessions or in the classroom. Wherever it is that you're doing your music leading, you can use these songs. And I've actually been using these songs since they came out. And exactly that. I've used them in classroom settings, I've used them in school workshops, and I've used them with my set up existing choirs as well. And I've used them in lots and lots of different ways, and we'll talk about that through this webinar today. There are all sorts of different videos on here, guidance notes, scores and audio tracks for you to jump into. So no matter what your setup is, whether you've got on hand an amazing piano player who is there to play all of these accompaniments for you, or whether you're using some tracks in the classroom, everything is there for you to be able to use this, no matter what the setup is in your music leading. We've got 2 songs on there at the moment, and it's exciting because we're building this up and there are more songs coming out, one in fact before the end of this year that we'll tell you about a little bit later on. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just going through the website, sort of walk you through that, and I'm going to share that with you now. So just give me 2 seconds. Okay. So this is the BBC Get Singing website. This is where everything you need to use these resources is situated in a really well thought out manner. So this is the home page to it. As you can see, it sits kind of within bite size here. BBC Get Singing. I just found this by literally Googling BBC Get Singing or on my browser. And from this first page, there's the link to download the scores and the backing tracks that you're able to take away. All you need to do with that is register your account. It's completely free to get these scores, to get all of these resources. You've just got to register your account on there, which takes less than 30 seconds to do. And if you've not done it already, you can do it after this webinar today. And there's also a section here where you can watch all of the performances. Very, very excitingly, all of these resources that have been created for our Key Stage 3 singers have been sung by the BBC singers. So there are sort of aspirational videos on there to see professional singers singing these pieces that you can use in your settings and your classroom to show, as well as using the resources that are available. Now, if I scroll a little bit further down, like I said, at the moment, we have 2 pieces on here. There's a Cat Burns song called Live More and Love More, and there's a Bob Chilcott song called Piping Down the Valleys Wild. I'm going to start with Live More and Love More, so I'll just click into that on here, and it takes me to this page, where, as you can see, there's lots and lots of different things, activity films, a bit about the song, teaching resources. You scroll through this, and again, lots of videos that you're able to use in your singing sessions. So this is a performance video. Over here, we have Shivani Ratan, who is the vocal leader, who's leading a lot of these exercises through it, who's going to kind of discuss and talk about that particular song. There's breakdowns of all of these, and all the arrangements are split into these 3 voicings: upper voices, middle voices, lower voices. So maybe in a sort of more traditional singing group, you might think sopranos, altos, and then any lower voices, change voices, tenors and basses. But what's nice about these arrangements is that they're very, very flexible. So if you split your group into two, and sometimes you just want to have everyone learning a unison melody, you can do that. You can add little bits of harmony and choruses and start to split these in whatever way you like, which is what I've been doing with my groups as well. As I scroll further down, there's all these activity films. And these are very much like intrinsically linked to the resources that we have available to it. And all it does is it lifts the stuff that's off the page and creates a really well put together video, which is Shivani leading this music with young people who have come together on that day and learnt this music for the first time, to show you that this music is so approachable, is so achievable, and really, really fun to sing. So we've got vocal warm-ups, a bit like we did before. We break down the music in different ways. So in this one, we sing the chorus first of all, just to sort of find, I call this finding the in the music. We don't start at the beginning. We find what's the most enjoyable bit, what's the bit, the hook that's going to get our young people really, really excited about this music. And then we can explore the song a little bit further over here. Now, as I said, these are split into 3 different voice parts. And on the website, you're able to get the different audio tracks so that as you're teaching this, as you're learning it yourself, you can listen to the upper voice part, the middle voice part, and the lower voice part in isolation, so you can start to learn that. I was teaching this to one of my choirs a couple of weeks ago, and the day before my rehearsal, I sat there, I'd got the score downloaded, which, like I said, took me about 30 seconds to get. And then as I was prepping for that session, I went and listened to those 3 different voice parts, and I went into that session feeling so prepared, so ready to sort of teach this music, and we learnt it really, really quickly. You scroll further down, and there are the scores that I was talking about, and there's the guidance notes. And I'm just going to show you a little bit what happens here when I've clicked that. So if I've just clicked the guidance notes, this new window will open on here, and it all turns up in a sort of slide deck. And again, there's an introduction about it to tell you more about the program. And then each of the songs has this 1-page sort of exploration of it, giving you tips, tricks, exercises to explore, which I'm going to talk through in just a little bit. So that's for that one. And then Piping Down the Valleys Wild has exactly the same thing, with lots of, like I say, really interesting things to help you as the music leader. And then a few glossary of terms at the end there that we can start to use. And what I always say to people who I'm like coaching in music leading is use as much musical language as you can do throughout your sessions. And then make sure that you take the time to describe what that is. Little and often. Keep that musical language going, because as we know, young people are absolute sponges. They will absorb all of that musical language. So if there's anything that you're a little bit uncertain of, we tried to put a few extra tips in there that you can use from that. Now, the scores in here, like I say, when you click this, these are all freely available. So this is Piping Down the Valleys Wild, upper voices, middle voices, lower voices, and the piano part. In this one particularly, it also has a bass and some chord symbols underneath. So if you're anything like me, I'm not a pro piano player, but I can busk a few chords. It can really help you out in any form of session. However, if that is not your bag, there are all of the tracks available. There's a backing track available freely to download, and all the audio resources for you to use as well. And then, like I say, all the parts through this, they're ready to download. You head down here, and there's lots of other resources to get involved in with this. And what I particularly like this, there's a poster download that you can put in here, so you can start to put some of this up, maybe around your music hub, maybe around your classroom, wherever it is that you're teaching music. You can get involved with BBC Get Singing. Cool. If I take us back to the homepage, like I say, all of that is available for our second arrangement, Piping Down the Valleys Wild. You look here, similar thing. You can watch the full performance. You can watch Shivani talk about the music so that the young people and ourselves can understand what the influences are to the music, why it was created in the first place, all the different ranges that might be involved. And this could really help you in your warm-ups as well. If you know that you're about to teach Piping Down the Valleys Wild, perhaps you look at this range and go, okay, well, all of these parts singing from a B flat up to a C. So that's where I'm going to focus my warm-up. I'm going to work through that range so that when we get there, there's nothing too high and nothing too low that we haven't already explored. And then these films that are breaking down the music, all of the audio tracks split to there so that you can play that through, learn it yourselves. You can use it in the session to put that on that people can sing along to. And then from here, you can download those scores and the same guidance notes as before. It's a really, really accessible website, very, very easy to navigate, and you can sign up to BBC Get Singing on the mailing list, and you'll be the first people to know when there's more of these resources that are going to become available to you. So I will stop that there, because what we're going to do now, like I said, this is a practical workshop. We're going to delve in and look at some stuff. So we're going to take a look at Live More, Love More, which is the first arrangement that is on there. So this is Kat Burns. Kat Burns is a pop singer. She is really big on social media, and a lot of you might now know her from her appearance on The Traitors. I absolutely love Kat on The Traitors. It's where I got to know her for the first time. And through her music, she really celebrates difference and champions positivity, which you can absolutely hear in this song. I've been describing this to some of my singing groups as kind of an anthem of positivity, because it just basically tells you to go and do the things that you're a little bit scared of, and we can live more, we can love more, we can enjoy life. Let's have a look at some of the resources that are available that I've just taught you through. So like I said before, there's really helpful videos that can focus your warm-up so that it is like leading into teaching this piece of music. There's a bit that breaks down the chorus, and then a little bit where we explore some different elements of the song, including some body percussion, which I'm going to teach you in just a second. And then, like I said, these guidance notes that are available so that if you don't want to use the videos in this. So let's take a look at these guidance notes that breaks down some of these exercises. Over here, you've got number 2, which is singing the chorus. So this takes this idea of live more and love more. We all just need to live more and love more. And then over on the other side, it just takes a short fragment of sort of the bridge of this song. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you... And when we're thinking about warming up our groups, or we've only got a short amount of time to teach this, this can be a really, really good place to start with all of this. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to have a look at some of these exercises. I'm going to stand myself up. And like I said, this is interactive. So if you want to stand up and join me on this, start to learn some of it. And hopefully by the end of this session, you'll be feeling ready to take on this song. I really like the idea of physicalizing sound, getting sound to not just be this abstract thing that happens outside of the body, it happens within us. So we're going to start off with a couple of body percussion movements to this. So all I want to do is go click, click, stomp. You try that for me? Off we go. Click, click, stomp. Now, this action that I'm going to add into this now is going to go knee, hand, knee. So you try that with me? So you get knee, hand, knee. You might want to do thigh, hand, thigh, whichever way works for you on here. So it's going to go click, click, stomp, knee, hand, knee, and I'm going to add one more stomp on the end. Together, off we go. Click, click, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp. And then I'm going to take the same pattern. I'm going to get knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, knee, hand, knee. And you can see I've taken it from this side of my body over to this side of my body. So you get knee, hand, knee. Take this hand, knee, hand, knee. Try that with me. Knee, hand, knee, knee, hand, knee. So if I put all of that together, it goes like this. Click, click, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, knee, hand, knee. Let's try it. Off we go. Click, click, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, knee, hand, knee, click, click, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, knee, hand, knee. So this pattern can go round and round and round. And when I say round and round and round, we can literally do this as a canon, as a round, which can be such a good activity for teaching musicianship. Now, the reason that I've chosen these rhythms for it is that it really correlates to what we're about to learn singing. So we can get these rhythms together, we're embedding that into our singers, which what could be quite a difficult rhythm suddenly is breaking down and becoming easier. So you get life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. We're just going to learn that little bit together. Can you say for me, life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Great. Now, as you can see, I really, really like this. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. And what we're looking for in our sessions is really kind of making the flow of the session feel extremely musical. So the less chat that we can do in the sessions and the more that we can just sing and demonstrate things, we can do that, which is why these resources are so great, because we as music leaders can feel really empowered that we know that music incredibly well. We can also use those resources in our sessions as well. So I'm going to say, life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. And what I might do at this point is I might ask my singers who are in front of me, do these three phrases sound different or the same? Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche. And what you might get is a few different answers from it, but essentially all three of those phrases do the same descending pattern going through there. So let's try that together. Life's too short, off we go. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche. And then we just tag on the last bit. But your life can start when you. Try that for me. But your life can start when you. One more time. But your life can start when you. So if I put that together now, we get life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Let's try that together. Off we go. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Now, a little bit earlier on, perhaps in a warm-up, we've already learnt the body percussion with this. So let's try and add some of that in. It's now going to go click, click, stomp, triola, stomp, knee, hand, knee, stomp, knee, hand, knee, hand, knee. If I put that together, it goes, life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Try it with me. Off we go. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you. Which leads us beautifully into this sort of refrain, the chorus little bit, the hook of this song, which goes, live more and love more. We all just need to live more and love more. Which we'll learn together now. Can you say for me, live more, love more? So we get live more and love more. Have a go. Live more and love more. And again. Live more and love more. And then we've just got this little joining bit that goes, we all just need to, which is a little bit like, life's too short, you only have one. We all just need to live more and love more. So we can try and put those two together. So if I do that, it goes, live more and love more. We all just need to live more and love more. We all just need to... Let's try it together. 2, off we go. Live more and love more. We all just need to live more and love more. We all just need to live. And then what we can do with that is start to put that on a loop, and we're starting to learn some of these chorus parts with it. If we're feeling really confident, we can then start to add some of the harmonies that are in the piece. So we set one group going, live more and love more. Then maybe we sing over the top, live more and love more. Live more and love more. And we've introduced some of this music. We've got them feeling the beat, the way that the rhythms go together. And then when we start to look at the full arrangement, we understand little fragments and it becomes easier to put the whole thing together. If I give you a little taster now, an introduction to some of the audio tracks to it that I've just got on here. So if I take this section of it, we get... The bit that I've just taught you is as follows. We get...
Life's too short, you only have one. It might sound cliche, but your life can start when you choose it to. When you choose it to. 'Cause if there's something you want...
Now, if you have a little listen to that section again, you can hear that their life's too short, you only have one, actually goes into a little round. And as we know, this age group of singers using little rounds and short songs at the beginning of sessions is such a good way to improve our harmony singing. So you can use this as a round in a warm. Life's too short, you only have one. Get 3, 4 parts doing this all together, breaking it down, getting all sorts of different parts going within it. Now, I started to add in some of the harmonies to Live More and Love More. So if I just play you this section, it goes...
If we just live more and love more, we all just need to live more and love more.
So if I take that section there, as you can hear, that's the tune that we all learnt together. A little bit later on in the arrangement, we get that harmony that I was adding into this, which goes like this. If I put it over the top, it gets...
If we just live more and love more,
and then I add it over the top.
we all just need to
Live more and love more.
So how
Which can be a really satisfying way to sort of build things up, get a little bit of harmony singing into your session. And like I said before, use these with the group that you've got in front of you. So if you want to learn this entirely in unison and take that, great, amazing. If then you get to the chorus and you think, do you know what? We can add in just one little harmony over the top. Brilliant. If you want to take the full arrangement and do every single harmony that's in there for it, all the different parts, brilliant. We as practitioners and music leaders who are working with this age group, we've got to be so creative. We're faced with so many different challenges, whether it be the sort of makeup of the singers in front of us, the experience of the singers in front of us. I am encouraging you to really be creative and use these resources the way that it's going to work best with your singers. I think a lot of us open up kind of new music scores like this and think that we have to be like absolutely every single detail that is in that score. But with young singers, we need to get creative with it as we're going along. So that's a little introduction to Live More and Love More. Let's have a little look now at some exercises and things that we can do with Piping Down the Valley's Wilds. So there's Bob with all his music. Bob Chilcott, very, very kind of experienced, famous music leader, music writer, music arranger. And we're very, very excited to have him on board with this. So Bob Chilcott has set this poem by William Blake, which celebrates childhood. It's the piper who's composing a children's song, and people get so excited that they want them to write it down. And that's kind of what Bob has done with the music of this. He uses these repeated lines and phrases that are syncopated, which are sort of giving the idea of urgency and joy and happiness through the music. And when you listen to this, you will absolutely experience that through it. Now, I use this word syncopation in there. One of the tricky things with this piece of music is that it uses a lot of syncopation, so rhythms that don't land on the beat, the music that happens between the beats of music. And going back to how we get into songs, we want to be making sure that we are setting our singers up for success. So let's look at some exercises and things that will help us with that. From before, there's all sorts of different resources available. So Piping Down the Valley's Wild, there's a physical warm-up in there, you shall see from Shivani. There's a vocal warm-up, and then we explore the song. So there's lots of tips and tricks that are available in there that we can have a look at through it. And then again, we've got the guidance notes. So let's just take another quick look at those from earlier. So how do we get into this? This is literally written down on here. There's all sorts of different exercises on how to take the main melody, how to add a bit of a kind of bass line to it so that we can start to layer things up and get used to singing in a bit of harmony. This first physical warm-up does a bit of what we were doing at the beginning, where we sort of shake out, and we might go tum-ti-ta. Can you try it with me? Off we go. Tum-ti-ta. So we might use some of these syncopated rhythms to help it out. The other thing that we might do is a little bit of call and response kind of clapping to it, which I'll do in just a second, which can help us to sneakily start to learn some of these tricky rhythms without just sort of going over it again and again and again. And then there's a little vocal warm-up in here, which is going to help with some of the music that we're eventually going to sing. So again, please feel free to join me on your feet. We're going to have a look at some of these exercises together. Okay, so as I said before, a really good exercise for us to do within our sessions is these call and response rhythms. So I'm going to go, and from that, I'm just going to take it and pass it over. We've all done these type of exercises before in some of our sessions, but I'm encouraging you to utilize them even further. So now I'm going to give you, let's do this. Slightly trickier. Let's try it again. My turn. My turn. So now what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to add in some of the text to it. So I'm going to say, piping down the valleys wild. And we're doing this little call and response with each other, piping songs of pleasant glee. On a cloud I saw a child, and he laughing said to me. So we're taking these syncopated rhythms, we're breaking them down, and we're getting them in the body. So now what I'm going to introduce to you is a little pattern. And all I want you to do is go knees. I like to call this the globe. So we get knee, globe, shoulder, shoulder. Knee, globe, shoulder, shoulder. Knee, globe, shoulder, shoulder. And from this, we can start off and go, piping down the valley wild. Have a go. Piping down the valleys wild. My turn. Singing songs of pleasant glee. Singing songs of pleasant glee. On there. So what this is doing is allowing us to feel where that beat is. Really feeling it in our bodies. And then when we put the rhythms over the top of it, we can feel all the different words where the the word lands between the beat. And a really interesting exercise to do with any young singers is to go, okay, I'm going to say it for you now. Can you tell me any of the words that landed on the beat? So whether it's my thighs, whether it's my globe, whether it's the shoulder or the shoulder. So I get piping down the valleys wild. And I think probably the strongest one, which is great, is the down, which is on the downbeat of number 1. Now can you tell me one of the words that maybe doesn't land on one of my strong beats? It lands in the space between the music. So I get piping down the valleys wild. And you might get a couple of answers in there. You can hear that valleys happens there and wild happens off the beat. And it's just taking us and making us think about the music in a different way. Like I say, this arrangement absolutely full of syncopation. So we're going to do a little exercise together, which goes like this. Da 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 da. So this is just going to go up a major scale. It's going to go one note extra and then come back down that major scale onto there. What I really encourage you to do with this is use this pattern that I've set up for us. So knees, globe, shoulder, shoulder. So we get 1, 2, 3, and da 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 da. And then what I might say to my singers is, did you notice that the second, they're always in pairs, these da-das, and the second one always happens just after I've done the globe. So I get da-da, and the globe sort of explodes in there. Da-da, through that sound. Now notice it as you're singing it up the scale. Let's try it together. 2, 3, go. Da-da, da-da. Da 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 da, and we land into that. And what you'll see if I show you this now is that within this arrangement, that rhythm happens over and over again. It happens in a slightly different way in that it happens on beats 3 and 4. But within this, you get the same sort of idea to it. And what we're trying to do is set ourselves up through these little exercises so that these arrangements become really, really accessible. And the little sort of pitfalls that might happen in them, we are thinking about it before we've even got there. So if I go from the beginning of this one, let me just put this on, you get this.
Da-da, da-da, da-da. Piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee. On a cloud I saw a child, and he laughing said to me.
Now, it's kind of sneakily within this, what I might start to do is say, okay, I'm going to put that on again, but this time I want everyone to feel this pattern all the way through. Can you listen out for words that happen on a strong beat, so whether that be thighs, globe, shoulder or shoulder, or any words that happen in the space between those strong beats? Let's have a little listen. Here we go.
Da-da,
2, 4,
da-da,
2, 3, 4.
da-da. Piping down the valleys wild, piping songs of pleasant glee. On a cloud I saw a child, and he laughing said to me.
So at that point, I might just ask which ones were there. And then going beyond that, you can start to go, okay, which particular strong beat did that land on? So when we sing with the piping, this is on beats 3 and 4, the upbeats to get into the music, into the chorus of it. So we might go shoulder, shoulder is piping down the valleys wild. And through that, We're embedding more and more musicality into our singers. And what we've sneakily done is we've used these resources, we've used the tracks, the audio tracks for it. And by the end of that, we've probably not been slogging away going, this is how this tune goes over and over again. They've listened to it, they've listened to a professional singer singing it, and hopefully from that, they're going to start to absorb some of those singing techniques whilst we're working on a bit of musicianship. And from that, we're then able to learn these pieces of music really, really well. And we can do that throughout this piece of music. Fabulous. So let's zoom ahead a little bit. We've gone into these pieces, whatever your singing group is, you've been learning something from it, whether it be in unison, whether you've been learning the choruses in harmony, whether you've mashed it up a little bit because you've learnt the first section and then you've learnt a little bit later on and you've gone, do you know what? I've got this performance down in the town square in 2 weeks' time, so we're gonna perform this piece of music, and you've not learnt the whole thing. Like I said, be creative with this music. But we zoom ahead. Whatever our performance goal is with this music, we've learnt it. How do we then start to take the music and add those extra things that start to make our singing groups sound brilliant, help to make them feel really, really confident? How do we go beyond the notes? That's what we're looking at. So there are things in here that we can look at. I love this word, enunciation, and I use it in all my singing groups. And again, if it's a word that your singers don't know at the moment, use it in the session, explain what it is, and then just keep using it, little and often, little and often. Crisp consonants, expansive vowels. Can we sing the whole of that tune that we've just learnt together? Piping down the valleys wild. Let's sing it all to an ooh. Ooh. Let's try that now to an ah. Ah. Now, can you feel that space at the back of your mouth? This time, I want you to try and keep that lovely space of the ah sound, and we're just going to close our lips a little bit around it to make the ooh. So it's going to go ah. Ooh. Try it with me. Ah. Ooh. Okay, now I want to hear the poppiest p of piping down the valleys wild that I've ever heard. Are you ready? 1, 2. Piping down the valleys wild. That sounds great. I love that p sound. Now everybody in the square down the road is going to hear that we're singing about piping down the valleys wild. We can be creative with it, particularly if it's a section of music that we're maybe struggling with. Instead of just going over the notes again and again and again, let's look into something else, and through that we're sneakily going to teach those notes through it instead. Tuning, posture, breathing, confidence. Okay, so sometimes things are a little bit not in the tune that we want to hear for it. It can be that our singers still don't know the music well enough, because confidence can sort of breed good tuning from it. But a lot of the time it comes down to, are we sitting well? Our job as music leaders and facilitators, particularly at this age group, is to constantly remind and hopefully empower our young singers to start to think of them for themselves. So I am saying to my singers, autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. Let's talk about posture. Are you sat in position 3, which is readiness, edge of your chair, your feet are firmly on the ground, ready to go. Like if I was going to stand you up at any moment, you'd be ready to stand up with me. Because if you're not, that's going to negatively impact the way that we sing. So let's take a positive spin on that. Let's improve our posture, which is going to improve our singing. It's so easy to say, you're not singing well because you're not sat well. Let's sit well. It's going to improve our singing. And therefore, when we're sitting well, we're going to breathe better. We can do some breathing exercises, and on the website, you will find all sorts of breathing exercises on there that you can add to your repertoire of things that you already know. Rushing ahead of the music or being behind the music. We've done a lot today on these, physicalizing the pulse, physicalizing the beat. It's one of the absolute, it's my go-to exercise that when we're starting to get somewhere with a piece, I want my choir, my singer, my singing group, whoever it is, to start to feel that music internally so they're not just relying on their ears instead. So use these types of patterns to help you with that. Now, maybe you follow a lot of different things on like Instagram and stuff, and you see a lot of these videos coming together. How can we get our singers really, really listening to each other? Once they've learnt this music really, really well, we want to encourage them to be maybe putting scores or word sheets away. And one of my favourite activities to do is let's walk around the room. Let's sing this music. You know it really well. As you walk past someone, you're just going to give them a little nod. And that's you saying, I'm going to have a quick listen into what you're singing whilst I'm singing my part. And we're starting to encourage this idea that we are a group, we are an ensemble, we work together. And it's what I love about singing in groups is that there is not just one person who is leading the whole thing. Every single person's voice is important. And exercises like this help to sort of model that and demonstrate it. You might have seen those videos where people are literally stood back to back and singing, and they can feel the sort of the vibration that is created through the physical idea of singing. Get creative is what I'm saying through all of this. Find different ways to illuminate the music, to be imaginative, to create an atmosphere where your singers want to be there, where your singers are loving the music that you're doing with them, and they want to improve and get better and learn all of this music. Now, expression. This age group are notorious for like basically going into their shells a little bit. The one way that I found to do this is that we take one phrase of music and we pick one word from that. This time that you sing it, I want you to give me a gesture on that word. So my word that I'm going to pick is, if I take live more and love more, I'm going to pick love. So I'm going to say, live more and love more. Okay, this time you have to change the word. So this time I'm going to choose the word more. How many times does that happen? Twice. Okay, so here we go. Live more and love more. Okay, this third time, last time that we do it, we're not going to use our hands. You have to use something in your face, an expression. It can be an eyebrow. It can be a tilt of the head. It can be a wiggle of the nose. I don't mind what it is. Here we go. Live more and love more. It's so easy for us as facilitators to say, just be expressive. Like we would coach the music, we have to help young people and coach them into be able to express the music as well. Break it down like we would in any piece of music, and from that we will get more and more expressive singing. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope that some of that has been really, really useful. We're going to go into our questions now. Ed's going to come back in. We've just put a few things on here to sort of kind of engage our brains a little bit with it. Things that we might have spoken about in here, performances, rehearsals, specifics on breathing, specifics about BBC Get Singing and what's happening next. But Ed, I will hand over to you.
Thanks. That was fantastic. A great rundown of all the resources available with BBC Get Singing, and I think some great explanations of how to use them as well. We probably only have time for one or two quick questions, but if there's any outstanding questions, please do get in touch with RDD ISM or BBC Get Singing, and we'll be happy to answer them. But first up, Matt, how do we encourage singing in UK schools?
Yeah, I mean, if we take this specifically for this age group that we're focusing on in BBC Get Singing, so this is our Key Stage 3, Years 7 to 9, getting them singing. It's probably quite likely that they've been doing quite a bit of singing up to Year 6. And what we have to do as facilitators is create those spaces in order for them to sing. So maybe you're working in a school. Can you get into an assembly and get people singing? From that, can you gauge which ones of those are really, really interested in singing and create a space? Maybe it's a Year 7 singing group that you're going to set up that happens for 20 minutes on a lunchtime. Maybe you work outside of schools, but you want to set up a singing group with that. There's loads and loads of resources available online to be able to do it. But it's about making contacts and finding the people who really want to do it and creating those experiences for them. And then beyond that, if you can get involved with something like your local music service, maybe they're putting on some form of big singing event. We know that group singing really cements and bonds together when you've had the experience to go and do something that is like really, really aspirational from it.
Great. And we're just out of time, but one quick question that I think you might like. So, one of my choirs have an age range of 15 to 91. Some are experienced singers, but most are finding their voice for the first time. I think this would be fab for them. Is it okay to use it with them?
I mean, absolutely. That's what these resources are there for. Get people, literally get singing. Doesn't matter who it is. Let's get people singing. And, that's creating an experience of community as well from those age groups as well. Love it.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Laura. That was fantastic. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We will be sharing this video with everyone hopefully tomorrow, and we'll also be sharing the slides. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with either BBC Get Singing at bbc.co.uk/teach/get singing. If you have any questions about the ISM or membership, email us at membership@ism.org. Thank you, everybody. Our next webinar is on the 21st of May, and it is Making Tax Digital for Income Tax.